Okay, I thought the problem was a good problem. I saw it online, and I certainly watched the guy's video as well. And the question states this over here. It's, 1 over x plus x equals root 3. That's a given, by the way, which is a fairly easy equation to solve. I'm not saying it's not. And then they ask the question is, what's x to 100 plus 1 over x to the 100? Now, again, what you could do is solve for x and then plug it in. But there's a problem there. And the problem is the 100th power of that number. All right, and there'll be two solutions to that problem, by the way. So what I want to suggest over here is that probably there's a different way of doing it. And what I would do over here is just if you use it like competitive mathematics, probably the first thing you would do is you'd probably try to square the equation over here to see what happens. All right, and something nice happens with this. This is typical in competitive mathematics. So over here you see x. I'm going to square both sides, plus 1 over x. Quantity squared equals root 3 quantity squared. And then what do you do there? You multiply it out. Let me just write that down. I'll be careful about it as well. And root 3 squared, that's pretty simple. That's just 3. What do you get here? And again, let me use some distributive property multiplication. You get x squared plus, well, x times 1 over x would just be 1, provided x is not 0. And clearly x is not 0, just by looking at it. Next one's going to be plus another 1, and then you get 1 over x squared. And that equals the number 3. So I'm going to write this a little differently. X squared plus 1 over x squared. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And you take that from 3, and you'd get 1. All right? So again, it doesn't give me that x to 100, but maybe you say to yourself, well, what if I square it again? And would I ever get to 100? Well, let's do that. Let's square it again. So we're going to square both sides. And what are you going to get? X squared plus 1 over x squared times x squared plus 1 over x squared. And 1 squared, fairly simple, just 1. What do you get there? We get x4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 over x4. And that equals 1. And again, I'm looking at this thing, and I notice that x4 now plus 1 over x4. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2, and subtract that away from 1, you get minus 1. All right? Now, eventually I'm going to keep going. Maybe I'll get to 100. And let's just keep going for a little moment anyway. And let's square. I get a little better at squaring, by the way. This is x8. Then you're going to get 2 in the middle plus 1 over x8. And that's going to be 1 when I square the other side. And what do you get? You get x8 plus 1 over x8 would equal minus 1. Kind of unusual. And what am I really seeing? I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. But unfortunately in the pattern, this is going to be, if you look at the next one, it's going to be x16. 8 plus 8 is 16, then x32, x64. I'm not going to hit 100. So I'm going to say it's unproductive to go in this. By the way, they're always going to be minus 1 when I do that, the squaring of it. So what I'm going to do is look at cubes then. All right, maybe something happens there instead. And maybe it's a combination of the two. So let's write the cubes down now. And again, it can be very frustrating because you don't know where it's going at this point. Plus 1 over x cubed, and that equals root 3 cubed. All right, I want to remind you of Pascal's triangle. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1. All right, so I know this is going to be, I'll write it down for you. It's x cubed, coefficients 1, plus 3, and then what are you going to get? You're going to get x squared times 1 over x. Then you're going to get plus 3 times x times 1 over x squared plus 1 times 1 over x cubed. Right, this kind of looks bad at this point, right? But root 3 to third power is going to be 3 root 3s. All right, again, look at this now. What do I see? I'm seeing x cubed plus 1 over x cubed, which is really what I'm kind of looking for. I see that here. And then look at these two terms over here, and let's be careful about that. I'm going to see a common factor of 3. And what do you get for the first term? You get x, because x squared divided by x would be x. Again, provided x is not 0, but it's not. We know that from the beginning. Plus 1 over x equals 3 root 3. All right? And again, looking at that, what do I notice immediately about that? And let's be careful about that. I think I noticed something immediately about that. What do I notice? I notice that x cubed plus 1 over x cubed plus 3. And what's x plus 1 over x? Let's make sure I did that right. That's x. Yeah, I did okay. Is going to be root 3. And that equals 3 root 3. All right. What do I notice now? It's kind of unusual. I noticed that x cubed plus 1 over x cubed is equal to 0. Now again, it might be some useful facts over here. I'm not really quite clear about it, but I think I could probably write down this now. I could probably write down, and again, it may lead nowhere, 1 over x cubed. Again, x is not equal to 0. What do you get over here? x6, whoops, I'm sorry about this, minus, would be minus 1. All right? Again, I'm getting these strange numbers here, but they seem to be simple. You know, I'm getting, really kind of simple numbers. But now I want to look at the problem, and I want to claim to you, I see some things, and what are you seeing over here? I'm seeing some things in the problem that may be useful. And what I want to write down is, I'm going to write down x to the 100. And I'm wondering, is it related to what I know about, x6 over here? So I'm going to say, if I thought about the 100, and I said, with 6 in that, I'm going to say it's 6 times 16 plus 4. Let me just check that. 100 equals, 6 times 16 is 60, and 36, 96, plus 4. So I can write this as x 6 times 16 plus 4. And I kind of use rules of exponents. Let's go through that. I'll be careful here, right? So it's going to be x4 times x to the 6th raised to the 16th power now. Just using simple rules of exponents. What do I know x6 is? It's minus 1. All right? So I'm going to put this over here. x4, this would be minus 1 to the 16th. And what does that give you? Just x4. So this is kind of unusual. x100 reduces to x4. So I can write this down now. X to 100. This makes it a lot easier for me to deal with, by the way. 1 over x100 is the same thing as saying x4 plus 1 over x4. Now, do I know what that is? Let's go back over here, and I do. It's right over here. I know what it is. It's minus 1. And that's the end of that story. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I also tried using Sage to do this problem. And Sage has some round-off error problem, by the way. I mean, they did get the number minus 1, but then they had a really, really, really tiny multiple of I in it. And why does that occur? Round-off error. All right? But again, use your head. When you see something like that, use your head to figure out what that is. Thank you.